Realtor.com predicts that Austin real estate market is going to grow by 14.5% in the year 2025. Is that truth or some random number to capture some attention? Stay tuned. We're going to dive deep into what happened in 2024 and what we predict is going to happen in 2025 Austin's real estate market. From 2020, Austin has added about 200,000 new residents. Divide that by 4, that means approximately 50,000 people a year are being added to Austin, Texas. We have a shortage of homes in US nationally. And upon the first day that he took office, he signed an executive order to the home builders and the authorities to lower the price of housing in the United States. Looking at what happened in 2024 and what are the news are about 2025, I am predicting a very, very balanced real estate market. The fear of crashing is now gone and we're feeling a lot more stability into our economy, which is going to encourage some people to jump off the fence and still buy those homes. Thank you very much for tuning into the Austin City Properties Real Estate channel. Here we drop weekly videos to show you and inform you about the best of Austin and Austin's real estate. Our number one goal is to help you make an educated decision about your next move. So if you're thinking about relocating to the Austin, Texas area, or you already live here and you want to upgrade or downgrade on your home, this is the number one channel you need to be following to stay ahead of the curve with all this good content. All right, if you have been following us for a while, you probably noticed that this channel has been rebranded to Austin City Properties from Austin City Brothers. And the reason for that is because my previous business partner, Artemis, has decided to take his real estate practice more privately. Hence, we're going to continue this channel as the new name, Austin City Properties. Without further ado, let's jump into this video. What's going on, everyone? If we haven't met yet, my name is Mirshad Afshar. I'm a real estate agent and advisor in the greater Austin, Texas area. And in this video, I'm going to break down what really happened in the year 2024 and what we predict is going to happen in 2025. All right, so let's start with some numbers. So 2024, unlike all the predictions, was rather an active one for the Austin real estate market. We sold roughly over 152,000 homes in this calendar year. And the total sales volume for these 152,000 homes was around 68 billion. Now, keep in mind that the average interest rate in this year was 6.9%. If you haven't been following the real estate trends and the news, I'm going to give you some numbers from 2022 to give you some context. Back in 2022, which was a transitioning year for real estate market, we used to have a very, very active market for a couple of years, multiple offers, and 2022 was the year that things started to shift a little bit with the interest rates going up. Average interest rate in 2022 was 5.5%, which is 20% lower compared to 2024. However, the number of sales were not dramatically different. We sold about 164,000 homes that year, which is roughly about 12,000 homes more. And the total sales in that year equal to 75 billion, only 7 billion more. If you put it into context, that means it was 20% more expensive to borrow money, but only about 10% of the sales dropped. Now, let's break down some other numbers that will put this even into more context. So in 2022, the average price of a home, a median price of a home in the Austin market was about $367,000. 2024, we had a 5% drop and the average price was closer to $352,000. Now, what does that really mean for the average consumer? So in 2022, if an average buyer wanted to buy one of these median-priced homes with a 10% down payment, their principal and interest, not including taxes and insurance, on monthly basis was closer to $1,880. In the year 2024, that same average buyer would have had to pay $2,080 for that same exact home. So on monthly basis, it was roughly around $200 more expensive to afford that home. But on the flip side, that same exact family bought the home for about $12,000 cheaper compared to 2022. And I think that number puts it into perspective. Even though it was more expensive to borrow money and was more expensive to finance a home, as a matter of fact, the sales did not really slow down that much because those people were buying these homes at a cheaper price. Now, let's talk about this segment of the market that might clue to the fact that we actually might have not even slowed down in 2024. So, when the interest rates started to rise and a lot of the market pulled back from buying homes, a lot of new construction builders started to offer great incentives. They started to offer low interest rates, some cases 5% or less. They started throwing some cash to close money to the home buyers, and then also they started to slash the prices of homes dramatically, resulting in the market shifting towards new construction sales for the majority. And the caveat to that is the fact that these new construction builders don't necessarily have to report to the MLS, which is a source that I got most of these numbers from. But according to National Association of Home Builders in Austin area, about 13,000 homes in the month of September of 2024 were issued. And if we take the average of 10,000 new permits a month and multiply that by 12 months, that's about 120,000 homes. And if we sold approximately 150,000 homes, it's kind of hard to believe that half of those homes were new construction. Maybe a quarter were, but probably not half. And with the fact that those guys don't even have to report the number of their sales, it's more private information for themselves, it leaves me to believe that we might have even sold the same amount of homes, if not more. If you're thinking about buying a brand new home in the Austin, Texas area and would like to be part of a community that shares a lot of great deals and opportunities that new builders are offering, consider joining our Facebook group from the link in the description below, where you can find a lot of great information as well as great deals that are being offered by these new builders. Now let's talk about what could 2025 actually hold for Austin's real estate market. I've broken down this section into 3 different parts. Number 1, what are different sources like financial institutions are saying about this year's real estate market? What are we expecting as far as population growth and migration into Austin, Texas for this year? And then also, how could the new office policies affect our market? Now, first off, let's talk about the different sources. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, Realtor.com is predicting a 14.5% growth for Austin's real estate market. Other institutions like Wells Fargo are predicting that the mortgage rates are going to average around 6% for this calendar year. Now, I wanted to dive a little deeper into the mortgage rates. That's why I'm bringing on one of our great experienced lenders, Mike Schmiglin, to tell us about what is he seeing the word on the street is. Hey, Mike, thank you very much for agreeing to meet with us today. And so a couple questions I have for you. The first one is, what factors really drive the mortgage rates?
All right. Well, thanks for having me, Rashad. I do appreciate it. So one thing I want to point out, I get a lot of calls or questions after the Fed meets, and we see the headlines, right, that the Fed lowered the Fed funds rate by 0.5 point. A lot of people assume, oh, wow, mortgage rates just went down 0.5 point. That's not the case. So the Fed fund rate is going to affect things like lines of credit, car loans, credit cards, short-term debt. Mortgage rates are more tied really to the economy and what is going on with inflation. As we've seen lately, right? Inflation, lately it's come down, but over the past last couple of years, it's gone up, and our interest rates have followed suit. Unemployment. As unemployment decreases, we see our interest rates increase. We just got word today that the projection on job creations in December was supposed to be for about 155,000 jobs created, and the number came out at 255,000 jobs were created. So unemployment decreased a little, more jobs were created, makes it look like a stronger economy. With a stronger economy, we don't necessarily need lower rates to spur activity, and therefore we have seen today our rates tick up a little bit. And commenting on the Fed changes that we've seen lately, in September they lowered it 0.5 point, and then in November, I think another quarter. Pretty much ever since then, we've seen our rates on the rise. Another thing you and anyone can watch is the yield on the 10-year Treasury. Our 30-year rates kind of track with that yield. And again, if you pull up a graph, you'll see that at mid-September, the 10-year yield was probably at its lowest point of the year. Fed lowered the Fed funds rate middle of September. And if you look at that chart, you'll see that the yield on the 10-year has gone up pretty much ever since. And again, as the 30-year tracks with the 10-year, we've seen our rates rise pretty much ever since.
So unlike what most people predict, which is if Fed's lower rates, the mortgage rates are supposed to go down. Right now, we saw the exact opposite, basically.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Does the Fed affect mortgage rates? Sure, there is not a direct effect, if you will, right? If you see that the Fed lowered the Fed fund rate by 1/2, you're not going to wake up tomorrow and see that our mortgage rates have dropped by 0.5 point.
So there are a lot of other factors, like as you said, like economy as a big picture is probably the best thing to take a look at if you want to, quote unquote, predict mortgage rates.
And inflation is a biggie.
Sure. Okay. Well, that sounds good. Thank you very much for that. Now, the next question I have for you, you've been doing this for a long time, seen a lot of ups and downs. What is your prediction or some of the resources that you value that are saying what's going to happen in 2025?
Michelle, I like to say if I knew that, I wouldn't be doing this for a living. But I will tell you this, economists are, in my opinion, a lot like a weatherman. They do the best they can. They do their research. They give their forecast. They may or may not be right. They keep their job. They do the same thing next year. But with that said, a lot of the economists, a lot of the experts in 2024 said, hey, by the end of the year, we should be in the mid-5s. Well, we closed the year in the high 6s, depending on the loan characteristics, low 7s, which is where we are now. Again, depending on the loan, high 6s. I've got people in the low 7s because of credit issues or what have you, but regardless. Sources that I've looked at that I can respect and kind of get an idea of what the future holds. Let me just glance at my notes here. So Fannie Mae's projection, they're saying we should average around 6.4%, definitely stay above 6 throughout the year. National Association of Realtors are a little more aggressive. They're saying that we should be around the 6% range, maybe even dip into the high 5s. I hope their guys are right. Wells Fargo, similar to Fannie Mae, they're saying average around 6.3 by the end of the year. So we've got a ways to go. We'll see what the new administration does, how that affects the economy, and always hoping for them to go down and not up.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's basically what are the news I have been hearing. But clearly, as you said, what we were hearing with the predictions last year did not turn out to be, exactly what they were predicting. So it's interesting to watch what's going to happen this year.
That's right. And if we do see the economy really slow down and we do hit a recession or something close to a recession, you'll see the rates come down in hopes of spurring the economy.
Right. But we've been very, very strong, especially in the last couple of years. It's still with the high prices, it's still moving.
Exactly. People aren't slowing down. They're spending. The concern is, are they spending too much on credit? What kind of debt are we going to have out there at some point?
Well, we'll see. Well, thank you very much for the information. I think that will really help our audience, and thank you again.
No, like I said, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
If you guys would like to get in touch with Mike and ask him some questions, here's his contact information. I'm sure he'll be happy to hear from you. Just be sure after you got your pre-qualification to give me a call at this number. I would like to help you find your next home. Talking about the next category, which is the population growth and the migration estimation, let's talk about what really happened from 2020. So from 2020 up until 2024, Austin saw a slowdown in the rate of growth. But that does not mean that the growth has stopped. It just slowed down. If you look at the stats, there are a lot of people that are moving here, but at the same time, there are a lot of people that are moving out of Austin. Some of the old residents of Austin that decided this city because it was this chill, laid-back environment for their living situation are no longer interested into this town because the pace has picked up and a lot of tech has disrupted the culture of this city. But at the end of the day, when you look at the net migration from 2020, Austin has added about 200,000 new residents. Divide that by 4, that means approximately 50,000 people a year are being added to Austin, Texas. And we don't expect that 2025 is going to be any different than that, most likely about the same numbers. It's interesting to note that 50,000 people a year equals to 136 new net residents per day. That is a very, very interesting number. You'll have 136 new residents every day. Another aspect of the migration are the companies that are moving here. All of you guys have heard about Elon Musk and his love for Austin. He's now announced that he's moving 4 major companies to Texas, and Austin, Texas is going to be home for a few of them. He's going to move Tesla, X, Neuralink, and then also SpaceX, which are massive billion-dollar companies that are going to be calling Austin home for the next few years. At least that's what we are hearing. Now, with that, there are going to be a lot of new workforce that will decide to be in Austin because of all the great jobs that they have. Now, transitioning from here to the new office policies, as we all know, Elon Musk is now a new buddy of our president, Donald Trump. And all the policies that we've been hearing so far is hinting to growth of economy as a whole. Thinking about this fact that Donald Trump is a developer and he thinks about building America because that's where he's coming from, I am predicting that the office policies are going to also hint us towards that direction. And it is a fact that we have a shortage of homes in Austin, not in Austin, but in US nationally. And upon the first day that he took office, he signed an executive order to the home builders and the authorities to lower the price of housing in the United States. Now, we don't know how exactly that's going to happen, but the biggest thing that comes to mind is supplying more housing in order to help with that problem. So if anything, I think we're going to see a lot more growth as far as the number of homes being built every year, which should make the homes more affordable because we have a lot of people that want to buy a home, are in a situation to buy a home, but unfortunately they cannot afford it. Now, let's wrap up this video. I know that was a lot of information for some of you to digest. So looking at what happened in 2024 and what are the news are about 2025, I am predicting a very, very balanced real estate market. If we sold about the same number of homes in 2024, interest rate being at 6.9%, and if this year we stay around 6%, most likely we will have a very healthy number of sales and transactions because, the fear of crashing is now gone and we are feeling a lot more stability into our economy, which is going to encourage some people to jump off the fence and still buy those homes. Now, you might be asking yourself, is this a good time for me to buy a house or not? Then my answer to that is always depends on your situation. It's a very subjective answer, depending on what's your goal for your life, what's your current situation, how much are you paying for rent, and what do you really want to do in the next 5 to 10 years. All that is going to determine whether it is a good time for you to buy a home or not. If you would like to dive deeper into your situation and get some feedback from me personally, there's a link in the description down below, which you can schedule a one-on-one consultation, and I'm happy to speak with you about your next move and planning out your real estate goals. Thank you very much for watching this video. Again, my name is Mershad Afshar, and I'll see you in the next video.